Hey guys, do y'all believe in aliens?
Oh, definitely. I definitely believe in aliens.
Illegal aliens or
Oh,
because they're coming
they
across
work
the
really
border.
hard, most of
Yeah.
them.
Those real aliens from outer space.
I you have to. I mean, the Earth is a speck in the universe. We don't even know where the universe ends. Does it end? It doesn't end. Why would a speck in this large, humongous area just have life in that little spot?
That's what I tell people when there's actually a lot of people that don't believe in aliens, and I find it impossible to not believe in aliens. If you knew how big the universe was, and then the possibility that there's even a multiverse with different universes, it's just like impossible for not to be life.
Even yeah, exactly, and that there's possibly like an inner Earth with those things that happen in the
Not even
poles.
outer space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we don't even know what's going on there. Have you ever seen Google Earth where they just blot out those areas and you're like, why is that blotted out? And it's like big areas
and there's
and they're just blotted out and on the poles of the Earth. And then you're like, okay, well, something has to be going on there.
And they've always said, what is it in Antarctica? In
Antarctica. Why
that
don't they let people like?
yeah, and under all those feet of ice, they've also said that they've found stuff, but no one really is allowed, right, to go and explore it.
Right.
So have you
So
seen those pictures of the Hubble telescope where it's like
Oh,
a
yes, the
deep
actual
image, yeah.
pictures. Yeah, yeah.
So where it just focuses on the area of the sky and
a dark area.
a dark area of the sky, and not even a big area. And the pictures it sends back with those little lights
Amazing.
are all different galaxies.
I know,
There,
it's amazing.
and it was I know that picture, and it looks like little
Like they look like stars in the night.
jewels, like it looks like jewels in the sky, and that was I. How far away was that? That it was a dark space, and by the time it reached to get to that space, then you see all of these little
They're
galaxies.
galaxies.
Well, little in the picture, but
So now then they just pictured that black hole,
Oh yeah.
and so that's one way of possibly getting other aliens or other beings here faster.
Like a wormhole.
Yeah. So we don't know how those work exactly. We just know that things go through them and come out the other end.
Yeah, and then they're finding all these different planets.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them in our own galaxy, but then how many planets do we have in our galaxy? Millions of billions of planets, and then there's about 200 other billion galaxies in the universe. Like it's impossible, each with their own set of
and
solar
the
systems.
numbers you're saying might even be small for what we know. Because where does it start? Where does it end?
Yeah.
And how could we be the only ones with life? But I also believe, do you all believe that aliens have come to Earth?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw the technology improvement, and
The jumps
I
in
don't think
technology.
that dude from Microsoft is a genius. I mean, what's that guy's name?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. I mean, he's a smart dude, but I don't think. I think information was given to him.
I think so too.
I think here you're gonna become a billionaire.
I think with any leap in technology in history, there's been assistance from
Yeah.
And
other
I also
beings.
believe that we're held back. I think that the technology that is probably around today that the governments know about, that probably does come from alien technology, is hidden from the public. And there is like documentaries that suggest that there's already
Well, there's no way they can let us in on all the information. Why would they do that?
No way. I mean, we can't sit and see taxes from Trump. So
Why would they let us in on all the information? I'm sure they do have a lot of technology that they don't let us know about. But what would give them the advantage over us, like controlling us, which is their goal, if we have the same technology they do? They're probably looking at us right now through our phones. They're hearing us through our phones. Like they have all this technology that
yeah
is
they
what.
if they know exactly where each one of us is. They know exactly
And I'm
So
sure
what
all
do we
that comes
do?
from a deal they have with the aliens, we do business with them. Basically, that's what it is. They give us technology, and we promise not to blow ourselves up.
And so, yeah, and I think teleporting is a thing. I think that does happen. I think time travel is a thing, and I think all of those technologies come from aliens. They even think that Tesla and all these other people may have had some sort of communications where they learned some of the things that they learned from that. So there's a lot of reasons to believe that there is something else out there.
Did y'all hear about that Canadian defense minister who he actually did a study, and he was looking for evidence of aliens, and he had a deep study, and he determined that there's 4 different species of aliens that have visited Earth, and they've been visiting Earth for thousands of years, and he said he had proof of that.
And
Do you have
many
proof?
many
How
times,
do you have proof?
He said he's spoken to people that have spoken and worked with aliens, and they've told him.
and when they make movies like the Men in Black and things like this, it's not something, that idea was put in them by something that's real. I'm not saying that everything in the movie's real, but a lot of these ideas in these movies come from real things.
And I do think they've been visiting for a while, but I think they're like keeping tabs on us. Like, okay, now they're here on this part of their development. And I think eventually, as we evolve, we're going to become more similar to them, and we're going to kind of catch up a little bit. But I think right now we're still way too behind them.
I don't think we'll ever catch up to anything. But there is those times where some missiles that they've shot, and that when you say that we don't blow ourselves up, that they've actually
Shut down.
shut down because they've seen a ship shut it down, like something else shoot it down.
I think that's their main goal here.
It's just protect us.
To make sure that we don't extinguish ourselves
Yeah.
or maybe hurt this planet. But I think that's their main goal, to make sure we're not idiots, which is hard.
And what would be the reason that the governments hold this from the public?
Greediness. They want the knowledge, and they don't want other people to know it. And maybe they think that we'll hurt each other by knowing. But I don't think. I think in the future, people will do some teleportation and time travel, and because we probably see some of that already. And there's probably people here in our time right now that came from a future time. All those people that win the lottery.
For real.
But yeah, I think that does happen, and I think in the future a lot more of that's going to happen, and that's going to become more open, but still limited, in a way.
And people that don't believe, if you watch these clips like of Apollo 11, where the astronauts have the 2 separate channels for communication, one is for the public and one is just for them, so that not the public doesn't hear everything they have to say. First of all, why would you put 2 methods of communication if you thought they were going to say something that people shouldn't hear?
Right.
And then they catch them saying that there's other ships parked on the other side of a crater or something,
Right.
and that they're watching them. And those things are said on I believe it was like for the Doctor channel. And the other one was the public
I
channel.
think we went to the moon with the purpose of searching it for alien life. I don't think we went just for fun.
I think that's the only purpose.
We didn't go just to pick up rocks and dust. I know we went to search for alien life because it's in our genes to search for alien life. Like everybody is curious about that.
So there are some for alien life, and to see if we can build bases and see if we can move forward. And then some people state, and there's been some videos that come out that saying, well, we don't go back because we were threatened by them not to go back.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And going back to saying, like, the movies that they make are sometimes triggered by something else. I mean, it was, when did these things come out of little fictional, what are they, like little things that would come out on the TV, like cartoon style, or Lost in Space figures, like something sort of like that, where
Right.
you're traveling in space. We're gonna travel to the moon. The comics would come out years and years and years before anybody went to the moon, or that was even a thought really of a lot of people. You would see
Right.
the moon, and then all of a sudden, 69, you're on the moon.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about. That all of these movies, that they have some truth behind them. I don't know, but
I agree with you. I think they do have some truth behind them. And sometimes you see, wasn't there a movie that came out with one of the airplanes that was kind of still being rolled out, and they already had a model of it in the movie and showing it. So things leak out, from the government to other. But maybe the government puts it out there so that then they can make movies. And one train of thought is that the government is preparing us to get more information.
that's exactly what I'm
Right.
saying. It's like a preparation. Okay, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen.
Was it the movie? I don't know if it was Independence Day, but there was a movie. I think Spike Lee was the director, who he actually got real information from somebody that leaked out and made a movie kind of explaining the story of what they had told him. And it was a big deal within the government. And yeah, I'm gonna look it up and see what movie that was.
Look it up, because we should.
Yeah, that would be good.
But the story leaked out, and he got that information and made a movie. I don't know if it was Independence Day or another movie. I need to find out, but that was pretty interesting.
That's crazy. Because I think if
Oh,
we
no. Encounters of the Fourth Kind, was it?
Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Of the third
The
kind.
older one, because there's the fourth kind also.
Yeah. The fourth kind is a new
No,
one.
the older one.
It's
Close Encounters
of the third kind.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind
Yeah.
was a true story that somebody got information leaked to them.
I
Really?
remember hearing that. Yes, and that.
Independence Day would have been better, but
Yeah, that would have been but we
Close
would've known
Encounters
that
of the
one.
Third
Hey, Close Encounters was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
What year was that?
I don't remember. I wasn't alive.
You were alive.
That
You
was
were
the year
alive.
before Rocky, I think, so maybe 75.
I wasn't alive.
And you see, those are the kinds of things that I say get out, because they say that something like that actually did happen. So do you all believe that that aliens come and actually take humans and
I believe
abductions?
they experiment on people. Honestly, I believe that they're trying to keep track of our evolution, and they're trying to keep us on the right track.
And that one thing that I was mentioning before we started the video, apparently they were working to mutate and create something new from humans and aliens.
A new species.
Species, kind of a mix.
I think that they figured something out to do with the DNA that could make differences.
Do you
in
think
us.
that they made us, like they genetically?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
because I've also heard that certain people claim to have been abducted. Then they go back and they have like checkups from the doctor or something, and they feel something, and then they find, let's say, like a little metal in them that, hey, this metal doesn't exist here.
So I'm a big believer in evolution, but I still can't understand how we can go from being like an ape
Yeah,
to being intelligent like we are
because we would have
Without-
no apes left.
without intervention.
Why would some guys still have apes?
Damn, they haven't evolved.
No, that's not how evolution works, guys. It's not a direct line. It's branches like a tree. Anyway,
My neighbor looks like an ape.
There you go. There you go.
anyway, I don't understand how
Hope
we
your neighbor
broke
isn't
off from them.
subscribed to us.
We broke off from them, and they evolved this way, and we evolved into what we are today. Super different.
Yeah.
We look the same. We have the same. We have fingers. We have a face with a nose and mouth, but we can think the way we think, and they can't think like us. And I think aliens had something to do with it. And I think it's part of their process of creating a species mixed with us and them. Have you ever seen that meme? It's funny, but
I mean,
it's funny, but it makes a lot of sense. It shows human evolution, and it shows the monkey to the walking ape to the caveman to us. But in the very back, there's a alien having sex with a Monkey. And that's basically makes a lot of sense to me.
Look, that's kind of gross.
I'm gonna put that meme here in the video.
Did you ever see Fire in the Sky?
Yeah. Well, the guy came to talk at Tammy U.
Yeah, actually, I think I went to that.
You went to that?
Yeah.
I was gonna go, but it
really?
was too early in the morning for me. I could not make it.
And he was with 3 others or 4 others that they
Yeah,
tried
3
to
or 4
blame
others.
for killing
Kidnapping
him
him.
Mhm.
and kidnapping him, killing him, and they were all saying how this light from a ship,
Mhm.
and he went and then he got lost and he showed up with like 3-4 days later,
Yeah.
naked without clothes somewhere like in a gas station or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
or another. And that was basically a true story.
And
And,
he
I
had
didn't
knowledge
even
for-
know he came to.
He
Yeah,
did. He
He's the
did.
keynote speaker.
Yeah, but it was early in the morning. It's like years back, like 10 years ago, and I was like, dude, I don't wake up that early. But that was that. But the first abduction story, big time, was from the 60s.
The
That
black,
couple?
the black and white woman. No, well,
Yes.
I think yes.
Yeah.
The Browns.
I don't.
I
know.
think they were
Was
coming
it-
down the road.
Yeah,
There's
they
a
got
black
caught.
man, a white woman. Their last name was Browns.
no,
Is this a joke or something?
no.
It's a name.
I really think
And
it
there's
was.
an alien
That
behind
name
it.
came to me. That name came to me because I do watch
Oh.
a lot of these things, and
And then the green alien.
and then, no, I think it was a
The
grace.
grays.
The grays.
Black, brown, gray.
So they were followed, and then they kept on going, and then suddenly they blanked out. Ended up back in their house, so back in the car. So they went to her house. They didn't know what happened. They lost time. Then they got hypnotized, and then the lady was able to draw out a map of stars that she got shown.
That she got
And years, 20 years later or something, they found
they found that
that
constellation.
constellation.
Really?
Yes, they
light
found.
years away.
She drew out like stars, like if they had shown her like a map of stars, like where they were from, and she drew it out, and that constellation had not been found yet.
She drew it before it was found,
Yes,
and they found it 20 years later.
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. They found it
That
later.
has something to do with something.
That has something to do with something. I mean,
Yeah.
she didn't look up and say, oh, "Okay, I'm gonna,"
And then
so,
I think they studied her dress, kind of like Bill Clinton with Monica Lewinsky, where they studied the dress and stuff like that. They studied her dress also for like different
Oh,
DNA
did they
and
find
stuff. And
something?
I think
I don't think it
found
had
something.
anything to do
with
with
Lewinsky.
Lewinsky. No.
Just wanted to get that out there.
Just
DNA
saying.
testing. We can stick to DNA
Just saying,
testing.
dude. There was an alien behind the monkey. You never know. I don't know, dude. But that's the way that one went, man.
So talking about the constellations and stuff, all those pyramids, you know that they line up, right?
They line up. Show Ryan's bell.
Exactly. Do you think that has anything to do with anything? I mean, why from different parts of the?
I think that it may have something to do with it, and I think maybe they had to have help in building them. But at the same time, at that time, there was no lights.
So you could see
They
all
had
the stars.
That's all they looked at all night long. They didn't have drive-in theaters to go to at that point.
But why would all of them be to those same?
Maybe
three
you're
stars?
underestimating
Freaking
them.
bright, dude.
Maybe
That's
you're
why.
underestimating them.
They had drive-in theaters.
With the size of stones that they built some of these pyramids and some of these buildings that we still have on Earth today.
Mhm.
Haven't you seen it would take like tractors all around it to
Yeah.
move it? How were those stones moved and put into place?
There was levitation. That's what they said.
That's what they're
right?
saying.
Yeah.
There's
That's what they're
levitation.
saying.
So they had the technology to do that.
Wasn't there this man, but he died and he was building something in a park
Mm-hmm.
and he had this little box and supposedly in that park there were stones that he could not have moved, that he could not have done anything with, and everything
Who was it?
He was building it for his daughter that died or something or something like that. And then he was a loner and he started building this thing and there was
and it was like
you're talking
a
about
black
stones.
box that I remember. This was years ago that I saw
And
it.
he would make like the doors that you just push them, they would open. They were like stones, big stones. I'd have to look up his name, but that was something. But I saw on YouTube this guy showing how to move these big stones on his own, like just by himself.
How was it doing
And
that?
how did we lose that along the way? How was that lost?
A great flood. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Well, supposedly, I mean, things have been wiped out over time several times. So
Whole
you know,
populations like the
yeah,
Mayans.
yeah.
Yeah, but how would you lose that kind of technology? Why wouldn't we be able to move? We have all of these cranes and tractors and stuff, and we wouldn't really be able to. Engineers are saying, "Hey, that would be impossible to move."
That's
I-
because they're not thinking. I mean, they it can't be impossible. If it's done, it's
if it's
done.
done. So
You
you
know.
don't think it could have been done like were those things done with alien help?
Well,
Why are they in that formation? They're in that formation aligned. Well, people
And,
are
and
putting it aligned.
and they're different in different parts of the world where those people would have no way of talking to each other.
I don't know. I mean, remember the land masses move, man. So
But that was way before, according to
yeah,
science.
but I think there was a great swimmer back.
Michael Phelps' great grandfather.
Michael Phelps.
He communicated to them. No, I don't know why, but yeah, it's very weird.
I think that has something to do with aliens.
And
I think
and
so too. I mean, maybe there were landing places. There was some way to communicate.
And then, not only that, like all those things written inside the caves and stuff. All those.
Yeah. Well, do you remember also that they found pyramids in, like, I don't know, it was North Pole or someplace up in where there's snow up there in the north.
yes,
They
and
found some pyramids there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
they
So-
found some pyramids there, and
So those civilizations long gone, man.
and they were thinking that it was like a station because it's supposedly it's huge, and now it's under.
Mhm.
And but I don't think people can really go out there and explore, see these things, or do anything. Why would that be? There's yes, space or whatever, but there's so many things here that people say that there's not that they visited us, but they could still be here among us.
Right.
And
I
there's
think
so
some
many
species are.
right. They could
Some
still
different
be.
aliens are probably among us, but I think there's so many more out there. There's too many planets. There's too many galaxies with planets that it's impossible for there not to be millions of other types of species out there.
Yeah, I think aliens walk among us, and I mean, some.
I don't know. I'm not sure of Walk Among Us. I don't
There's
know if
some
I can
that
believe
there's
that.
some. Well, that guy, the defense minister that did that study, he said there's one species that actually looks like us. One of those 4 species that have been visiting Earth looks like us. The other ones are the Greys, the reptilians, and then I forgot what the other ones are. But one species looks like us.
It was the lizard people.
Well, not like us. They're like blonde.
And some of the people
Tall.
that some of the military people that apparently got interviewed that worked with aliens, they were very human looking. In fact, they would go and they would go
Well,
to the stores and they would go to different places, but there has to be a distance between them and the military. So, but they would communicate. Then, so
Valiant Thor. He came to work with the government, supposedly from Venus. And if you look it up, and they have like pictures that's Valiant Thor, and I don't know if anybody has ever been able to say that's not Valiant Thor. That was my uncle, or that was. I don't think anybody has ever said anything like that.
Ever said anything like that? Yeah.
And that he was, I don't know how many years old, and he came to work with the government, the U.S. government. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the whole story, too much to it,
But there was a lot. Yeah, there was a lot to that, and that he would work with the U.S. government at the Pentagon and all this other stuff. So that was interesting.
And there was also a woman with him,
Yeah.
right? There was also a woman.
That they said was an alien also.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that part. But have you ever seen anything that was an alien or something alien-like or unidentified
Well,
in the restroom?
Flush that right away.
when we've talked about this before, I always tell them that I think I was about 15 or 16 years old, and and I got in an argument with Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember our Galaxy had that the window at the back that
The
would.
Galaxy's a car guy.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a really old car, I'm assuming.
Super
really
old.
old car.
I'll find a picture of it right
and
now.
the back window was slanted,
Yeah.
and I was lying back on it, and across, looking like towards Laredo Street, across I saw a red ball, not coming down, just going straight across, and I thought like, wow, look at that, and it just disappeared. And I always thought like, huh? And then as a matter of fact, sometimes I would have dreams that I would see like little red things after
Yeah.
for a while.
Have you ever
I've
seen
never
it?
seen it. I wish I would, but
There was one thing I saw when I was over at our cousin's house, the Cavazos, and I was outside and I was looking up, and now I know that that's Jupiter. I guess back then I didn't know that was Jupiter, but I saw a red light. And it must have been huge because I mean it looked tiny, but I saw a red light go straight like this and make a 90-degree turn and just go like that, and I was like, I had no idea what that was.
things don't do that.
Things don't do
Yeah,
that. Things don't do that. They don't do 90-degree turns really fast and then go behind or in front of that star and then you couldn't see it anymore. But it was weird. It was weird, and that's
And like you say, it must have been huge.
it must have been huge for for you to see that. People say that they see things around the moon all the time, actually, and if you're recording it all the time, constantly, I think you can catch some things. Of course, there's some satellites that go around it and things like that also, but they do catch some things moving as well.
So maybe that is where the aliens have their base.
It could be.
That's where they spy on us from.
For under mountains here, under the ocean here, Middle Earth. The hobbits live there, I think. So
Christopher Columbus saw a UFO.
did he really?
Uh-huh.
Went into the ocean, came out of the ocean, then
He
was
followed some lights and things
Really?
like that. Yeah.
they followed him.
Wow.
You haven't seen those specials?
On Christopher Columbus, no.
Yeah. Well, no, that's part of the story in one of
That
the.
he wrote it down
Uh-huh.
in journals, right? Because you keep journals on everything.
Yeah, and I believe George Washington also claimed to
To see
have seen
aliens.
aliens or ghost spirits, but I would say it's aliens.
Jimmy Carter saw.
George Bush worked with him.
George Bush, I think, probably worked with him, the first one. And then Ronald Reagan also. Who was it? Was it Reagan? Because Reagan was pretty informed about all this stuff, and I think he was well informed also because Bush worked with him, and Bush gave him the information.
Bush was the one that they said that used to work with them directly, huh?
Yeah.
The first Bush.
Yeah, first
Yeah.
Bush.
Wasn't there? Didn't they have something in Zapata,
Yeah.
and that stuff would happen through there, the bushes, or in little south of us. I don't know, Zapata, maybe somewhere in that area or something. I don't know if gas, oil, or whatever it might have been, or. But I remember a good friend of mine that I worked with for a lot of years, Dr. Solis. He mentioned things like this, and he would tell me about like all the alien things and stuff. It was pretty good. I mean, he.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
Then
tell
of
me
course
about
there's apparently some ships that crashed here close by, and then the government and the military went
It
to
was
pick
before
those up.
Roswell, right?
Before Roswell.
Before the Roswell incident in Laredo.
Didn't they call it
the tomato.
the tomato man,
Yeah.
the tomato man,
Yeah.
something like that? That picture wasn't very convincing. But
That wasn't very convincing, but the story was. I think that's the story where apparently where all the military that was with them from Mexico all died or something like that,
Oh, wow.
and then they went and they picked up the ship, or that was another. That was one of the ships that actually wrecked with an airplane or something like that, and went down in Mexico.
Went down in Mexico.
And the military
And
went
the-
into Mexico and brought it back.
and brought.
The U.S. military?
Yes, the U.S. military went in and brought it back.
That's illegal, man.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't
It's
care.
just a river.
Yeah,
True.
just a river.
That's what
Just
the
got-
illegal aliens say.
So I think we're all in agreement that there's aliens among us.
Now I would like to know what other people have
Oh, I thought you wanted to know one. I was like, no.
No. I would want to know what other people, maybe they can
If
send us a little something of things that they've seen or
anybody
know
has a
or what
story,
they've.
man, yeah.
Or if anybody wants to try to convince us that aliens don't exist, give it your best shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
'Cause it's-
it's very very difficult.
The evidence is overwhelming, man. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming, and there's so much stuff going on, and there's so many things. I think all you have to do is open yourself to it, and you can see it.
Yeah, the
Uh,
evidence is too much to deny, especially
Yeah.
when you start thinking about that the bubble theory with the infinite universes. And
Yeah, as it is with anything, spirits, ghosts, and all that stuff. You open yourself to it, you can see it, and that's what this is all about. But we'll get smarter once we know these things, and the government should kind of help us out
you have any interesting pictures? Email us.
about aliens.
Let us know.
Anything.
Yeah, anything.
Oh yeah,
Alien spaceships, anything that you've seen in the sky that you've
Well, you know,
believed to.
before we end this, do you remember the rainbow I was taking pictures of?
Nope.
No.
Whatever.
So there was a rainbow one day, and it was I think it was a double rainbow. So I was like, "Oh, that's pretty."
Oh, I know. I took pictures of that double rainbow.
So I was like, "So it's pretty." So I went click, 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 and I did that. And so when I went back and looked at the videos, okay, so there was a few things going on. There was these white lights, like little specks of light, kind of moving
In the
here
pictures?
in the pictures, in the video. So when I moved this way, they were in different positions over here, and kind of like this, like this, like this, and then I took another picture, and they were way out there, already leaving.
Do you have those pictures?
I do at home actually, and so, but also on the bottom, on my house, there was some orbs.
Alright.
Yeah, there were some orbs. One over here on the tree, one over here on a light that was off, and so, and I was like, wow, that was, and to me, I don't know what that was. So then I asked the guy from, at that time I had seen a guy that worked at the airport, and I go, do you ever see, do people ever report things to you? Do you all ever see things? And he goes, oh yeah, like tons. Like we get a lot of reports.
Like pilots or like
No, like people, and they see things. And I believe that one time I want to say it was the FBI or whoever, the aviation people, right? FAA or somebody came in and just took everything.
Who took everything like of what?
Like all the stuff that they had as far as all the recorded
Oh,
stuff. So they'll take everything if they've
the
done that
MUFON
before.
files.
Okay, yes. Those,
You
yes.
have to watch that.
I've
It's
watched
very,
some of those.
very,
I've watched some of
very
those.
interesting. Very interesting.
All right, so I just wanted to mention that one last thing. And
Well, maybe we can add the picture.
if I see him, I mean,
Yeah.
you'll see him and you might think it's nothing, but if you really pay attention, there's something going on there. And I don't know, I never knew what it was. So,
Okay.
interesting.
all right, guys, sounds good.